Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our show, the Filipino Records. I'm Glenn Opendo. Today, our guest is a counselor from NDG, Darlington area, and he's already familiar in the Filipino community. Let us welcome Mr. Counselor Lionel Perez.
Thank you, Pastor Glenn. My pleasure. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so much.
inviting me. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for being in our show.
Pleasure.
And like anyone else, first off, I would like to ask you to tell our viewers where can we meet you, where can we find you, your job responsibility, and your relationship with the Filipino community.
For
Go
sure.
ahead, sir.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. It's a real pleasure to be able to speak to you, to speak to your audience about some of the work that I do for everybody in the district, in the borough, but also for the community, of course, the Filipino community. That's a large and vibrant community. First of all, it's very easy to reach out to me. If you ever need to call me, you can call 311. You'll get my phone number. You'll be able to get my email address. You can check out the website of the City of Montreal. Just look for the elected officials. So you put in my name or you look for the borough, and you'll be able to get it. You could always look me up on Facebook, on Twitter. I'm pretty accessible. So, and it's my pleasure to be able to hear from the residents, from the community. If ever there's issues, problems, things we can help, it's be my pleasure to be able to assist them. Some of the stuff we do, it ranges. So much to do. We obviously take care of the regular stuff that needs to be taken care of in cities. Okay. People care about their street, and we know that the municipal government, city councilors, is the level of government that is closest to the population. You walk out, you want your snow cleared, you want your garbage pickup, you want some parks, you want it to be, the nice Côte-des-Neiges to be clean. Those are all things that the city takes care of. So right away we have that interaction. Okay. We're really well connected, and we know a lot of people like you in the community organization. So we take care of a lot of those things. We speak with the services, with the city, people who work for the city, the administration, the bureaucrats, the blue-collar workers, and we work together. It really is a partnership, and we make sure that we have the contracts to be approved. We make sure that if we look at what are some of the new practices in other areas, in other cities, in other boroughs, and we say, hey, can we do that here? And we have these meetings all the time. So a lot of the stuff is behind the scenes. Okay. A lot of the time it's analysis, it's meetings, it's discussions, it's reading, to help make the city better, to help get the services better. And sometimes we do new services. That's a huge part of what we do, and what's great about it, it doesn't matter what political party you're from, what your affiliation you're from. You know, I've never met a sidewalk that has a political affiliation, right?
Well, you, Rutland, and Anthony, you guys are in different party, right? But you work together in the community, and for that, we would like to thank you for your service. And how about well, you're already like very familiar in the Filipino community. Like, almost event there. I see you there. We see each other. And how about continue.
First of all, thanks for recognizing the work that myself and Marvin Rochon, that Anthony do. You're right. We're on different parties, but we work well together because we have a similar view of what our roles are.
And that's very rare for politicians.
For the community. Yeah. That's what, we understand what's important to community groups. To the Filipino community, which is a huge part of Côte-des-Neiges-NDG. Côte-des-Neiges-NDG is also very multicultural. We have, over 120 languages that are spoken and dialects, ethnicities, cultures, religions. And what I love to say is that Darlington, where we're actually located now, is like the UN of Montreal and Canada. We have the most,
I didn't know that.
We have so many different groups and languages and ethnicities. What's beautiful is we all get along. We all respect one another. It's our job as a city councilor is to make sure that we have more inclusion. We see that diversity is a richness that we can collaborate and share. I know before I was an elected official, I lived in the area.
Right.
But I didn't have much interaction with the Filipino community. And it was only it's 10 years now. I'm celebrating my 10-year anniversary as a city councilor.
Oh, wow.
And I really saw the beauty and the civic mindedness of the Filipino community. We share so many of the same values: family, faith, the thinking of others. There are so many community organizations, Filipino, that take care of other people, take care of the elderly, the nurses, this, that, and that is a testament to what's important to the principles and values of the Filipino community. I love going to events. Mackenzie King Park, is the official, unofficial Filipino park. Marvin and I worked very hard on a couple of great projects to have the Jose Rizal Memorial work on that place. I think it was so significant.
Exactly.
Marvin proposed a motion. I seconded it. We worked together behind the scenes. It's a beautiful, beautiful testament and the values that he represents. And I think as time goes on, more and more people are going to discover how a moral giant that he was in world history. The other things that we worked on is on, declaring the month of June Filipino Heritage Month. So that's something that myself and Marvin wrote. We were the first city to do that, the first borough to do that. And Anthony, an example of how things work together. Federal, he went to the federal level and he got approved to Parliament. He did it a year. Amazing. He did it a year later than us, but it doesn't matter. It counts. It's across Canada. It's recognized, and that's what Canada is all about. That's what Montreal is all about. Is taking a richness, and I see that a lot of people from outside the Filipino community are discovering a lot of the heritage of the province, the dialects of the Filipino community. The other thing that I'm very proud of is in 2017, I had a document that's called the Montreal Charter of Rights and Responsibilities. It's an official document of the city of Montreal that announces the values and the principles and the obligations and responsibilities the city has towards its citizens, but also its citizens towards the city. And
it's vice versa.
It works both ways. It's not a one-way street. The city has things to do things, but people also have to work. Absolutely. And I had it translated in Filipino.
Really?
Yes. And we had a great, beautiful inauguration at City Hall. Members from the community came, hundreds of people, and it's to be able to show that Montreal, believes and appreciates and respects its diversity and different communities. So I think those are some of the elements that we have. Obviously, there's other parts in terms of making sure that the community groups get their fair share of municipal space, time. We do funding, obviously, through different funding and programs and subsidies that we're able to get. And
the provincial level,
at the municipal level, at the city level. Every year, Piscinayon, the Independence Day, and basketball associations, everything that we work so hard to make sure, and the response is great because we see the results. We see the children playing basketball instead of doing stuff that are on the streets. We see people getting involved, the elders, getting involved in what they need. The chess club, for example, where we had chess boards installed. So there's everything, and it's incredible how that expands. And obviously with FAMAS and all the other organizations, those are the type of things that we love working with, active organizations, and it's a testimony to how the community sees itself. So we're going to continue working with the community, different community organizations, and support it. It's important to be an advocate for them. There's a lot of challenges throughout different ways, and our job is to make sure to represent all our citizens.
And is the city and the borough support a sports organization like basketball? For the youth?
Obviously we have 19 boroughs in the city of Montreal. We have Côte-des-Neiges is the most populous. It's the largest borough. We have 170,000 residents. So we're very active. We work with the city center. they delegate a lot to the boroughs because we know the players locally, right? That's a lot of the things that we do to be able to really help and work together. There's always needs for more. There's no doubt about it, and it's for us to try and get more funding to be able to build more spaces. I mean, we have a lot of space in Côte-des-Neiges-Notre-Dame. It's well utilized, but we could always do more. And obviously, some of the other things that we work on is on issues that don't only touch the city world, the municipal world.
The issue that don't only touch.
Yeah, in other words, we speak about municipal affairs. Yeah. But we will very often speak about other matters, other issues at the provincial or at the federal level. I'll give you a couple examples. It's important for me, for example, to speak out against certain things that goes against my values. Yes. So, for example, last year when Bill 21, that the Quebec government wanted to put forward and unfortunately adopted, I was very vocal. And I passed a motion and a declaration at City Hall to condemn the law, to say that it doesn't represent us, that people should be judged on who they are, on their abilities, on their knowledge, and not to label people because they have a religious garb or religious article that they should be excluded from jobs. For me, that's discrimination. Yes, systemic discrimination. Of course. It's not very different than excluding someone because of the color of their skin. Yeah. Now, if that person can do the same job, why not? Then why should he or she be excluded? If they're doing things improperly, then we have methods and recourses that they should be excluded. Yeah. But we should not allow to normalize discrimination. Exactly. So I was very vocal. I'm going to continue being vocal on that, even though it's not a municipal affair matter directly. Yes, of course. There's court challenges. We're looking at that. Another example is right now the government wants to change school commissions. They want to abolish elected school commissions. Elected school commissions are important because they stay accountable to the population. Of course. If you don't have elected officials, then all it is a bunch of bureaucrats that are going to be listening to someone higher up the food chain, so to speak. Yes. So we presented our party, Ensemble Montreal, Together Montreal, which is the official opposition of Montreal. We presented a motion. It was adopted unanimously. The administration supported us. Okay. That's another thing that we did.
What is the reason why they want to abolish that?
Well, the Quebec government, the CAQ government, has said that they believe that there's a very low turnout of people who actually go out and vote. Therefore, it's not very representative. Therefore, we're going to get out of the elected official and we'll save a lot of money. And they're going to put in place nominated boards. Well, I think there's nothing like accountability in elected officials. And my concern is you're changing an important element of the way things work. Right. I wouldn't want that to happen to cities. Yes.
And if those leaders are not functioning well, then it hurts the community.
Absolutely. It's best to have elected officials that represent the community, that know the community, as opposed to some bureaucrat in Quebec City who's making decisions for Côte-des-Neiges or for our area, which doesn't know any, which never sometimes never visited the area.
Yes, yes.
So those are the type of things that we're not going to shy away from speaking about other issues. We're asking the federal government to go ahead with a ban on handguns at the national level. We passed that motion. Those are the type of things that we're going to speak out because people feel comfortable coming to us. They know us. They have every month, they have a very public forum. They can come to every borough or city council and ask questions. So we're the only level of government where you can publicly come and ask a question to your elected official. You can't do it at the provincial level. You can't do it at the federal level. So, we're very often in the hot seat. So we understand, we get it, and we'll be a voice for the population on issues that aren't strictly municipal.
Right. Well, thank you so much for representing the community, and the Filipino and the Jewish community have a lot of things in common. And we're also thankful that even in Israel, the Philippines doesn't need a visa to go there. Yeah. Because of the relationship they have back within the UN when the Israel became a nation. Yeah. It's the Filipino vote that made that to happen. And so because of that, our relationship between the Philippines and Israel are very very intact and strong, and you know we worship the same God. We also worship the God of Moses, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. So we have a lot of things in common. Absolutely. And one thing that we're so thankful that even in our vineyard right now, in my office, belong to your writing.
Yeah.
So, thank God for that. And now we know that you've done a lot of works already for your 10 years in the politics. What is it there more that Lionel Perez wants to do in the future?
Well, there's always more that we want to do. I think something that we need to do at the city level that sometimes people take for granted is that we have to improve what our core business and services is, right? We have to improve the way we pick up the garbage. We have to improve the way we clear the snow. We have to improve the way we clean the parks. Now, these are things that are normal, that are given. But sometimes in a big structure, right, things get a little bit lost. They go to the lowest common denominator instead of going to the highest denominator. Exactly. So part of our job, my job, I think is very important, and I do it all the time, is to push to be better. Excellence in everything that we do. I want to have the cleanest borough. I want to have the best snow clearing. And that's stuff that I think people expect is normal, and I agree. I'm not asking for any pat on the back. I'm just saying that is important because sometimes it's so easy to focus on things and making announcements on things that don't affect people's everyday life because it's easy to do. But when you want to make structural change, when you want to change all the snow clearing contracts in the city of Montreal, a budget of $166 million a year, takes time and effort. You got a lot of, so those, a lot of things to do. That's number one. Number two, I think that we have to improve the safety of our streets. In terms of we have to slow down some of the speeds. A lot of kids in our area, a lot of schools. And unfortunately, drivers nowadays, I find, are becoming more nervous, impatient. So we have to make sure to change the geometry, change the configuration, slow things down a little bit, but in an intelligent fashion. Right? We can't do it in a dogmatic, ideological fashion. It's got to we can't do it across the board. We got to analyze it, we got to do the studies, and we got to do it where it has an impact. In terms of other things, I think we have to do a better job at the city of improving how the integration of new arrivals, new immigrants happens in the city of Montreal. Montreal gets 70% of all immigrants that come to Quebec. 70% at least settle in Montreal. And within Montreal, Côte-des-Neiges-Notre-Dame-de-Grace receives a lot, right?
That's the main hub.
We're one of the main hubs we receive. And then after a couple of years, some people start moving out after they've established themselves, they got jobs, and they look for a home and whatnot. But we receive a lot of people. So we have to do a better job, and then that I'm really striving for, to help people understand, to get better access to language, to jobs, to homes, safe homes, and clean homes. That is something that is a challenge, and I think that we've done some work, and I think we have to.
but it's a bit better now than before. When I first came here, it's really worse.
Well, I mean,
there's a lot of youth gang war and all that, and that would have been resolved back with then, and now it's kind of like establishing. But you're right, we still receive a lot of immigrants. And
I'll be honest, the city has to do a better job being representative of its population. We need more visible minorities working in the city. We push for it. We pushed a motion last year that said from now on, anytime there's a job opening for the city of Montreal, everybody should be able to apply right away. Because right now the way it works is they first open the job, but only for people who only work in the city. And then if no one gets hired,
that's the only time.
Then they pass on to outside. Well, guess what? If we have a problem where there's almost a high percentage of people of let's call it francophone white origin working in the city, and you're already only restricting the job openings to that pool, it's going to be that much harder to get visible minorities. So we passed a motion. Unfortunately, the administration didn't vote for it.
Oh, really?
They didn't vote for it. The administration of Madame Plante did not vote for it. They voted against it. we were very, very disappointed. We think that we could have worked with the unions. We could have worked with a structure. That's something that we're gonna, continue harping on. One of the other things we said is that in any city organization, we have a lot of non-profit organizations. We said from now on, whenever there's a board, it should be representative of visible mind, more visible mind. So that they adopted, which was a good sign. But those are the type of issues we have to do. Racial profiling is a big problem with the SPVM. It's a big problem. There was a report that came out a couple of weeks ago that says if you're a visible minority, you have 4 to 8 times chances of being stopped. Yeah, it's very, very worrisome. Very worrisome. So, what we did on Monday, we passed a motion saying that we're asking the SPVM to stop unsubstantiated street checks. So we send a strong message to the SPVM. So those are the type of things that we have to do. Absolutely. It's racial profiling. Yeah. And it has to stop. It's unacceptable in 2019, 2020 that anything like that happens. Now, some people say it's systemic, it's not on purpose. I'm sorry. The numbers are evident. Yeah. So those are the other things that we have to continue fighting for.
But it wasn't like that before.
It was like that, but we didn't have the numbers.
Okay.
Now we did a study and we have the numbers. And it's evident. It's clear that it happens. So we, as elected officials, when we get new information, new data, we have to act. So that's what we did on Monday.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for all those things. Those are very important that the people don't usually see. But people like you guys, like Marvin and you and Anthony, are really working hard for our community to be better. And so hopefully the next election.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to run again?
Well, next election are in November 2021.
I might run a council.
Okay, all right, go for it.
I'm just kidding.
You could, just not in my district. But yeah, I mean, look, we don't know what's gonna hold for us. 2 years is a long time, but God willing, if I'm healthy and my family everything's good.
Healthy?
Yeah, thank God. So if everything's good, I think I'm gonna continue. Yeah.
Are you not aspiring for a higher office so you can do more for the community?
Well, I do quite a bit. I think I'm happy where I am right now. Besides being city councilor for Darlington in Côte-des-Neiges-Notre-Dame-de-Grace, I'm also the leader of the official opposition currently of Montreal.
All right.
So there's a lot of work there that I'm taking care of. Yeah. I'm the first one who asks a question with the mayor every month at city council. To keep them accountable, to be the guard dog of the administration, to represent the population when a lot of times people don't always know. So I'm going to continue. I'm very proud of the work that I've done and the way I do it, true to myself, true to my values, in an honest fashion and with credibility. That's with integrity. I think that's what I hope to transmit.
Wow, that's good. And speaking of jobs, in fairness, the administration right now in Farmers, they have openings in Facebook. So it opens to a lot of Filipino, especially to those who are newcomers. Yeah, it also have before, but now it's really there's a lot of job openings and it's visible. Amazing. And well, thank you for the support. You're not only supporting Farmers, you support any other organization as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're talking about Farmers. There's a strong Filipino community, but we help dozens and dozens of organizations from every community, every background, every religion, any activity. It's part of our mandate. It's part of our role as a borough, as a city, to be able to do that, and we do it with all the different communities.
Right. All right. So, anything that you want to add, want to say to our viewers, especially to the Filipino community?
Well, when you ask a politician to speak, he or she can keep on going. But anything that energize a rabbit bunny, to keep on going. Well, I think that what's important to think is to say to the population is that as much as we as city councilors can do and can work, it's important for the population to also get involved. Yeah, there's a role for citizens in the municipal level. And what's great about the city level is that there's so many opportunities for local democracy.
Right.
So you have the opportunity to come every month at borough council or at city council and ask questions. And the more involved you are,
Yes.
the more questions you ask, the more awareness you bring, well, that helps move things along. So if, one thing is get involved. Come to city council, come to borough council, ask your questions. I created a local council at Côte-des-Neiges-Notre-Dame for the youth.
For the youth group.
For youth, so that people from 18 to 25, that they get involved, and it's an official capacity where they tell us their perspective, how they view things.
They're the future.
They're the future. We want to hear from them.
Right.
We want to understand what's, how their mind, how they look, to get that input. So that's something that I created. I'm very proud of. It's been in operation for about a year. There's, there's members of the Filipino on it.
Let me know.
Well, I think you're a little bit older than 19 to 25.
No, but I have a lot of youth group here.
Yeah.
And our youth group here is very strong.
Yeah.
And if you can see, in the last FAMAS election, all my volunteers are youth.
Yeah, it's great.
So, many of the old leaders says, we're happy that the youth are here because, before it's only the seniors. But this year, I involved the young people, and a lot of people are happy about it.
That's exactly it. That's the future. We got to think of the future, and the more we get the youth involved.
I'm interested with a meeting. I'll inform my youth leader to participate and give inputs to the city.
Sure.
And we're very much willing to. If there's anything we can do, let me know.
Absolutely.
And we'll be there to help and support.
We also have other ways. We have often we have public consultations. Where the city says, we have an important project. We need to hear what you think. So I'll give an example. Tonight, there's a public consultation on the future of the Blue Bonnets, the Hippodrome site.
Yeah, I read some writings about that.
Yeah.
Can you share that a little bit?
Sure. So we all know that the Hippodrome, the Blue Bonnets area, where there used to be the horse racetrack on the carry near Jean Talon.
Yeah.
Right. So it was we got it to be get it back from the provincial government. So it's now the property of the city, and we have to redevelop it. It's huge.
And who's the
well, the city right now is in public consultation to say, hey, we want to hear what kind of city, what kind of neighborhood do you want? You're right. How much public transit do you want? How many parks do you want? Is there something that you want more than others? The level, the density. So those are the type of things that we need to hear from the population.
Right.
And if some organizations and groups mobilize, others don't, but it's also important to hear from just average citizens what they want.
Yes.
That's the kind of thing that people can get involved in a proactive way. And I'll encourage you. People reach out to me, on Messenger.
And so far, what is the plan for that place right now?
Well,
what is
there's no do? Other than knowledge that we want to have a number of thousands of housing units. We need more housing units. We need to put some space aside for school.
Condo
we need condos, maybe other different kinds of housing that hasn't been determined. But we need obviously at least 3,000 to 5,000 housing units. We need space for parks. We need space for schools. We need to ensure that the social housing. We need to ensure that there's some commercial, some businesses. We need to ensure we put the proper infrastructure from a development, a sustainable development perspective to what the rainwaters we want to be able to reuse. So all these things are things that we need to hear about from the population. So it's going to happen fast. In this next 7 to 10 years, it's going to be sprouting in a beautiful new neighborhood.
Time flies.
Absolutely, time flies.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are the type of things that we want to hear from the population.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much, Lionel, for your time, and we want to invite you again in our show, and it's very good to have someone like you and your caliber, and that's it for today. We are the Filipino Records. This is Glenn Opendo. This is Lionel Perez. Thank you so much for listening. and we're signing out.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Oh,
that was half an hour.
More than.
Yeah, really? Why should you go flies, man?